$3,000 to $5,000. That's what a transmission rebuild costs on a GM truck. And in almost every case, it didn't have to happen. The transmission didn't fail because it was defective. It failed because the owner did 9 things wrong every day for years without knowing any of them were a problem. One of them takes 1 second to fix, another one is free, and the most expensive mistake on this list isn't a driving habit. It's ignoring a warning sign that costs $100 to fix now and $4,000 to fix later. Here's the list. The first one happens every single day, every parking lot, every driveway, every 3-point turn. Shifting from drive to reverse without coming to a complete stop. You're backing out of a spot, you start rolling forward, and before the truck fully stops, you pull it into reverse. Or you're maneuvering in a tight space and you're going D to R to D to R without pausing between shifts. It feels fine. The truck does it. No warning light, no noise, maybe a small clunk. That clunk is the sound of your transmission fighting itself. Inside your transmission, clutch packs and bands have to fully disengage from one direction before engaging the other. When you shift while still rolling, you're asking components that are spinning one way to suddenly grab the other way. The clutch packs absorb that conflict. The servo pins take the impact. The valve body redirects pressure under stress it wasn't designed for. On a 4L60E, you'll hear it, a harsh clunk that tells you exactly what just happened. On a 6L80 or 8L90, the electronics compensate and smooth it out. It feels fine. But the wear is identical. The transmission is just better at hiding it. And this gets 10 times worse when you're stuck in snow or mud, rocking the truck, drive, reverse, rapid shifts under load with the wheels fighting resistance. That's the worst-case scenario for clutch packs and bands. If you're ever stuck in rocking, come to a complete stop between every single shift. 1 second. That's all it takes. 1 second of patience saves hundreds of dollars in internal wear. The fix for daily driving is the same. Come to a complete stop before shifting directions. Every time. Your transmission was designed to change direction from a standstill, not while moving. But this next one is a habit that people think is actually helping their transmission. It's not. Dropping into neutral at a stoplight. You've heard it somewhere. Put it in neutral at red lights to save your transmission. Or it saves fuel. Both are wrong. On modern GM transmissions, when you shift from drive to neutral, the line pressure inside the transmission drops. The clutch packs disengage. When the light turns green and you shift back to drive, the system has to rebuild that pressure and re-engage the clutch packs. That pressure spike, repeated hundreds of times over months and years, creates wear that wouldn't exist if you just stayed in drive with your foot on the brake. And on GM trucks with AFM or DFM, the constant D to N to D cycling can interfere with the engine management calibration. The system expects consistent input. Repeatedly toggling between drive and neutral sends mixed signals that the adaptive learning has to compensate for. Your transmission was designed to sit in drive at a stoplight with the brake applied. The torque converter absorbs the load. The clutch packs stay engaged at stable pressure. That's the intended operating condition. Neutral is for towing and emergencies, not for red lights. Zero cost to fix, just stop doing it. This next one costs nothing to prevent and protects a part most people don't even know exists. Quick thing, if this is saving your transmission, hit subscribe. I put out videos every week helping GMC owners avoid expensive repairs and keep their trucks running. No fluff, just stuff that works. Parking on a hill without using the parking brake. When you put your truck in park, a small metal pin called the parking powel drops into a notch on the output shaft. That's what holds your truck in place. That's it. One small metal piece holding 5,000 to 6,000 pounds of truck. On flat ground, that's fine. On a hill, the entire weight of the truck is resting on that pawel. Over time, hundreds of parking events on slopes, the pawel wears down. The notch it engages with gets rounded. The pin bends slightly. And one day you hear a loud clunk when you shift out of park, or worse, the pal skips and the truck rolls. The fix is free and takes 3 seconds. When you park on any slope, set the parking brake first, then shift into park. The parking brake holds the weight. The pal just locks the shaft with no load on it. When you leave, shift to drive first, then release the parking brake. This transfers the load smoothly instead of shocking the PAL. 3 seconds, $0. Protects a part that costs hundreds to replace if it fails inside the transmission. Now, this next one is the mistake that kills transmissions during towing. And most GMC owners don't even know the button exists, not using tow/haul mode when towing. Every modern GMC truck has a tow/haul button. When you press it, 3 things change. The transmission raises line pressure, which means the clutch packs grip harder and don't slip under load. The shift points change. The transmission holds gears longer before upshifting, keeping the engine in its power band. And engine braking activates during deceleration. The transmission downshifts to slow the truck instead of relying entirely on the brakes. Without tow/haul, the transmission shifts as if the truck is empty. It upshifts early to save fuel. The clutch packs engage at normal pressure, which isn't enough when you've got 7,000 pounds pushing from behind. The torque converter cycles between lockup and unlock constantly, generating heat. And heat is what kills transmissions. On the 8L90 and 10L80 specifically, towing without tow/haul puts the torque converter under thermal stress that it's not calibrated to handle in normal mode. The fluid temperature climbs, the converter clutch slips, and over time, that heat degrades the fluid, glazes the friction material, and leads to the shudder and slip that ends in a rebuild. A torque converter replacement runs $1,200 to $2,500. A full rebuild after heat damage, $3,500 to $5,000 or more. The tow/haul button is free. Press it every single time you tow. No exceptions. And while we're talking about hills and heavy loads, this next one is related. Going downhill using only your brakes. No engine braking. Your GMC truck weighs 5,000 to 6,000 pounds empty. Add passengers, cargo, or a trailer, and you're at 8,000 to 12,000 pounds rolling downhill with gravity pulling you faster. If your only plan is the brake pedal, here's what happens. The brake rotors heat up. Past 400 degrees, brake fade starts. The pedal feels soft, stopping distance increases. Past 600 degrees, you're in dangerous territory. And while your brakes are overheating, your transmission is in drive with the torque converter cycling between lockup and unlock as your speed fluctuates. That constant cycling generates heat in the transmission too. The fix: use engine braking. On trucks with a manual shift mode, drop down 1 or 2 gears before the descent. On trucks with tow/haul, press the button. It activates automatic engine braking on deceleration. The engine holds the truck back, the brakes handle the fine-tuning. The transmission stays in a consistent gear instead of hunting. Here's the thing, your engine can absorb braking force all day without damage. Your brakes and transmission cannot. Let the engine do the work it was designed to do. This next one is the most debated topic in GMC ownership. And the debate is costing people thousands. Ignoring transmission fluid changes. The lifetime fluid myth. Let me be direct. There is no such thing as lifetime transmission fluid on a GM truck. GM's own severe duty maintenance schedule calls for fluid changes at 45,000 miles. Most mechanics recommend 60,000 to 80,000 for normal driving. The idea that your transmission fluid never needs changing is a dealer myth, not an engineering specification. Here's what happens to transmission fluid over time. It breaks down thermally. The friction modifiers that help clutch packs engage smoothly degrade. The fluid gets darker, thinner, and loses its ability to protect metal surfaces and maintain consistent pressure. By 100,000 miles on original fluid, your transmission is operating on a fluid that's lost a significant percentage of its protective properties. Here's a simple test you can do right now. Pull the transmission dipstick and wipe it on a white paper towel. Fresh Dexron is bright red and translucent. If your fluid is dark brown, it's overdue. If it's black or smells burnt, you've already got damage happening inside. The color tells you everything the dealer won't. And here's the interval that matters by transmission. On a 4L60E, every 50,000 to 60,000 miles. These run hotter than the newer units and the fluid breaks down faster. On a 6L80, every 60,000 to 80,000. On an 8L90 or 10L80, every 60,000, especially if you tow. And always use Dexron 6 or the manufacturer's specified fluid. Aftermarket universal transmission fluids do not have the same friction modifier package and can cause shift quality problems on GM transmissions. Now, the myth that scares people. If you change the fluid on a high mileage transmission, it'll start slipping. Here's the truth behind that. On a transmission that's been neglected for 150,000 miles, the worn clutch packs have adapted to the degraded fluid. Fresh fluid with full friction properties can cause those worn packs to slip because they've been compensating for bad fluid for years. That's real. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't change the fluid. It means you should have changed it at 60,000 miles. The lesson isn't, don't change it. The lesson is, don't wait. A transmission fluid change, drop the pan, replace the filter, refill with fresh Dexron, costs $150 to $300. A remanufactured transmission costs $1,800 to $3,000 installed. A custom rebuild costs $3,000 to $5,000. Pick which one you'd rather pay for. Stay with me here, because this next one catches people every single winter morning. Wide open throttle launches on a cold transmission. You start your truck on a cold morning. You back out of the driveway, you pull onto the road, and floor it to merge onto the highway. The engine responds. The transmission shifts. Everything feels normal. Inside the transmission, it's not normal. The fluid is cold and thick. It's not flowing at full efficiency. The pressure isn't consistent across all circuits. The clutch packs are engaging against fluid that hasn't reached operating temperature, which means they're not gripping with full force. A wide open throttle launch in these conditions causes the clutch packs to slip momentarily. That slip creates hot spots on the friction material. Repeated over dozens of cold mornings, those hot spots glaze the clutch surface and reduce its holding capacity permanently. The fix is simple. For the first 5 minutes of driving, especially in cold weather, drive normally. Moderate throttle, let the fluid warm up, let the pressure stabilize. Then, drive however you want. 5 minutes of patience on cold mornings adds years to your transmission's life. Now, this next one isn't technically your transmission, but it's connected to it, and the mistake costs the same. Shifting into four-wheel drive incorrectly. On GM trucks, 4-high can be engaged while moving, up to about 55 to 60 miles per hour, depending on the model. That's fine. The transfer case is designed for that. 4-low is a different story. 4-low requires the truck to be stopped or moving under 3 miles per hour, and the transfer case needs to be in neutral for the gears to mesh properly. If you try to force 4-low while moving at speed, the transfer case gears grind against each other. You'll hear it, a harsh grinding or clunking sound. That sound is metal destroying metal. Even one bad engagement can chip teeth on the transfer case gears. Repeated forcing can damage the shift fork, the synchronizer, or the chain inside the case. A transfer case rebuild runs $1,500 to $2,800. The rule is simple. 4-high, you can shift on the move, under 60. 4-low, stop the truck, shift the transmission to neutral, then engage 4-low. Wait for the light on the dash to confirm engagement before driving. If it doesn't engage cleanly, don't force it. Roll forward or backward a foot and try again. The gears need to align. Check your owner's manual for your specific model. The exact procedure varies slightly by year and transfer case type. And now, the last one. The most expensive mistake on this list, not because of what it does, but because of what it lets happen. Ignoring early symptoms. A small shudder between third and fourth gear. A half-second delay when you shift from park to drive. A flare where the RPMs jump up briefly before the next gear engages. A slight slip under hard acceleration that you only notice if you're paying attention. Most people ignore these. It's minor. It only does it sometimes. It's probably normal for a truck with this many miles. It's not normal. And it's not minor. It's the beginning. Every major transmission failure starts as a minor symptom, and each symptom points to a specific problem. A shudder on the 3/4 shift usually means the torque converter clutch is glazing, or a specific solenoid is sticking. That's a $200 to $400 fix if caught early. A delay from park to drive means the pump is taking too long to build pressure, or the forward clutch apply circuit has a leak. Could be a seal. Could be a valve body issue. Either way, it's a few $100s now versus a full rebuild later. A flare, that brief RPM spike between gears, means a clutch pack isn't engaging fast enough. That's often a solenoid or an accumulator piston. Again, a few hundred caught early, and a slip under hard acceleration where the engine revs but the truck doesn't accelerate means a clutch pack is already losing its grip. That's the last warning before real damage. If you catch it here, a valve body service or solenoid replacement might save the transmission. If you drive another 10,000 miles on it, you're looking at a rebuild. Caught early, these are $100 to $400 fixes. A solenoid replacement, a fluid change, a valve body reprogram, an adaptive learning reset. Small money, quick fixes. Transmission saved. Ignored for 30,000 miles. That shutter becomes a slip. That slip becomes a burn. That burn becomes a rebuild. $3,000 to $5,000 because you ignored a symptom that cost $100 to fix when it first appeared. Here's the rule. If your transmission does something it didn't do last month, get it checked. Not next oil change, not when it gets worse. Now. The cheapest time to fix a transmission is when the problem is still small enough to ignore. That's exactly when most people choose not to fix it. And that choice is the most expensive one on this entire list. 9 mistakes, all common, all avoidable. Most of them cost nothing to fix. Just a change in habit, button press, or 5 minutes of patience on a cold morning. $3,000 to $5,000. That's what a rebuild costs. And now you know the 9 things that lead to it and the 9 things that prevent it. The transmission in your GMC wasn't designed to fail at 150,000 miles. It was designed to last well past that, but only if you let it. If you want to know which GMC model years are the most reliable, watch this video right here. And if you want to make your GMC last past 300,000 miles, that one's right here. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.